My first daughter said, "Daddy, I love that you have a job, but I wish it wasn't this one." My second daughter said, I told all of them, I said, "Well, if Daddy doesn't work, you know that y'all can't eat." And she said, "Well, we don't have to eat all the time." And that's when I knew I had to change.
What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another episode of Flip That Switch. I'm your boy B to the Citizen IE, and we back with another episode. If you didn't get a chance to go back and watch the previous episode, please go back and watch it. I talked about, are you with the wrong one? And I gave some different signs on red flags that you can kind of get out in front of to make sure that you are with the right one or maybe with the wrong one. So please go back and watch that episode. As a matter of fact, before you watch this one, go back and watch that one. But today we're going to be diving into a new episode. We're going to be talking about the importance of a bond between a father and a daughter. And I know there are a lot of fathers out there that really are struggling with this. They may be present in their daughters' lives. They may be there, but mentally they may just not be there. You can be present and not be present. And so a lot of fathers out there are really trying to navigate what that looks like. And just as your daughters grow up and they go through life events, college, boyfriends, things of that nature, some of those things can really help you as a father to help them navigate what those situations look like. So we're going to be talking about that today. But before we do that, I would like to talk about the guest that I'm going to be interviewing today. This man, I met him about 2 years ago at one of our church conferences, and just a really, really solid guy. He's a husband. He's a father. He's out there just really grinding and getting it. He's a content space owner. He has 2 podcasts out there on YouTube, The Soul Detox, as well as We Need to Talk. And those podcasts are really just interviewing people and getting their testimonies about really how God has transformed them from where they are or where they were to where they are now. So really just cultivating those conversations. And this man is nothing short of amazing for what he's doing out there. He's really doing God's work. I feel like he's out here fulfilling the plans and purposes that God has on his life. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce my boy, Ezekiel. What's up, man?
Man, I'm so honored to be with you on your podcast, brother. I'm inspired by you. Ever since me and my wife met you guys, we knew that y'all was real ones. You guys are leading the way, man. Making love, young love, black love, all that look amazing. And now parenthood. So it's amazing to see, bro.
No, for sure. I appreciate that. And to be honest with me, this episode is probably going to inspire me as well, because as you know, I have a daughter and she'll be 10 months. And trust me, as a father, I need all the help I can get as well. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
so thanks for taking the time to come on. So let me ask you a question. Growing up, did you have a father in your life, Ezekiel?
Yes, I have both parents. My parents are from Nigeria, so I grew up in a Nigerian household. I wasn't overwhelmingly deep in the culture in that I could speak the language, but my parents, that's all they know. So the way that Nigerians raise their kids, it might be similar to a lot of Caribbeans and maybe what some African Americans experience. Just a bit of, the I guess the motto for men in the home is, just provide. That's your only responsibility, and let the women take care of the kids. And so the interaction between father and children was one that was a bit more distant than what I do in my house. But I don't have any regrets. I know he only could do what he was taught to do, and so I'm just grateful. But I did have both parents in the home.
Okay. What are some of those lessons that you took from your father to kind of help you? Well, first, let me step back. How many kids you got, Ezekiel?
I have 5 kids, man. I got 5 kids, dude. Been married
Okay.
almost 17 years, 5 kids.
Wow. How many daughters you got?
I got 3 daughters. I have my daughters first. They're 14, almost 13, and 11.
Okay. What were some of the lessons that you took from when you were growing up that you kind of instilled into your daughters today? So I know it's a different ball game because you were a boy being raised by a mother and a father. But was there any lessons that you took from that said, okay, you know what? I can kind of take these lessons and apply them to my daughters today. Was there any lessons that you took from those times?
Man, honestly, my household, the way it consisted, my parents were, my dad's a pastor, still pastor. Both my parents are raised in the church. And so for me, it was really the instilling. That's one thing I can say, if nothing, that my parents instilled the fear of God,
Mm-hmm.
the importance of prayer, the importance of respect and respecting elders, and the value of family. All of those things are something that have been instilled just them being in our lives. Um, I didn't get, the level of affection that I would have really, really wanted from my dad. So that's something that, I saw from, my need and my lack, and I did in my life. But as far as putting God first, making sure that there is nothing and no one that comes before your relationship with God, and allowing your relationship with God to feed into and to permeate into the other areas of your life. And from that, I could see it in my daughters, like even with their friends. Like, yeah, when my friend was going through this, I made sure I prayed for her, and this and that. I made sure that they know that that's not godly. I'm like, okay, go ahead, kids, and they're
Hey,
very cautious with the things that they say and the things that they do to ensure that it's in line with those Christian values. So that's something I could definitely say I instilled in my babies.
wow, wow. At a young age, wow.
Mhm.
That imagine you imagine your daughter coming home and telling you at a young age, I told my friend that this wasn't godly, or I prayed with them. You just get so hyped and excited just like
Man,
thinking about it because it's like, wait, what?
yeah, absolutely.
You you mean to tell me in today's society with social media and everything going on, the
Mhm.
world being a dark, dark place,
Mhm.
it makes you realize and understand that you're doing something right.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely. And it's beautiful to see, man. It's beautiful to
That's
see, bro.
that is amazing, dude. Wow, that's amazing. So let me ask you this: what are some joys of parenting daughters, of being a father to daughters? What are some of the joys of that? What does that look like for you?
Man, I think it's just a unique thing. My first child was a girl, second child was a girl, third child was a girl. And one thing, it was so easy to raise and just to be with my girls. My girls were easy babies. It made me even confident enough to have more kids, because I thought it was easy raising kids, because they were so peaceful, so fun, so curious, so intelligent. And that's just the grace of God, because you gotta be grateful when you see all of these are all gifts. Your children being able to see, to be able to breathe, to have the functioning of their bodies. Everyone can't say that. And so I'm just great. I was just grateful. Just seeing them. They came out different. They had the different looks and all that stuff. And so for me, what's special is, I think it's that when you see them coming into their girliness, and their distinct girliness and their femininity, it is just a beautiful thing, because it empowers your masculinity and fatherhood. When you see your daughter scared, like, daddy, there's a moth, could you get it, and it just empowers you to be like, all right, you step back while daddy takes care of the moth. And you can see, like, when they're afraid, the first person that they turn to is daddy. When they need help, the first person they turn to is daddy. Daddy, can you open this? Daddy, can you pick this up? Daddy, can you pick, when they were little? Daddy, can you pick me up? So being strong, and it empowered you to be strong. It empowered you to stay in the gym. It empowered you to continue to stay educated and be smart, because you're the person they turn to when they need information. And so I think it's something beautiful. And I don't mean this in any demeaning way, but the areas that they're weak, it allows you to be strong. The areas that they need covering, it allows you to stand as a protector. And so, like, I'm not going to be able to have that when my boys get older. They don't need me in that same way. but my
Mm.
my daughters can always look at me, until of course they get married and have a husband of their own, as that protector, as the one. Hey, where you going? Okay, you need me to come with you? The person that, daddy, this boy said this to me, and I all I gotta do is say, he said what? And I know it does something. It does something to their heart. Like, yep, you can't just be talking to me like that, because my daddy ain't gonna like that. So just that in your
Ooh.
mind, to know somebody that's gonna be there for her, that's not gonna stand or tolerate her being misused or mistreated, and to know, like, at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, even when they choose a man or a man chooses them, they have someone that's gonna hold him accountable to do what he says that he's gonna do.
Man, wow. I like what you said. You said they empower your masculinity.
Mm-hmm.
And what's funny is that we as men, we already have the mindset that we got to go out here and be all this macho man, and we got to go out here and conquer the world, and but it's nothing like your masculinity being put into focus until you have a daughter. It's the same way with me. It's like I look at Ocean, I look at my daughter, and I'm like, there's certain things and clues that she looks to me, and it's like she already knows that I'm gonna be that protector for her. She already knows that I'm gonna be that provider for her. She already knows that when she looks at me and she looks at daddy, she knows she's safe. And
Mm.
that's the best feeling in the world to me.
Absolutely.
It's I'm telling you, man, having my daughter is probably like, I don't want to say the biggest accomplishment,
Mm.
but it's literally like accomplishment one and accomplishment 1A. Getting married was accomplishment one,
Wow.
just because of the simple fact that I feel like I I've grown up in my marriage more than I've ever grown up in life.
Period. Absolutely. Yep.
Just from a maturity and standpoint of having to compromise and sacrifice and die to self. Marriage has just really made me grow up. It wasn't when I started paying bills. It wasn't when I got on my own. It's when I got married. I was just having my daughter, and that's a different ball game. It's been good to just really have other fathers that are girl dads to be able to bounce ideas off of, because I'm going into this, there's no blueprint or manual. I'm just going blind at it. And sometimes I do feel like, I could be doing better in certain areas, but I think the main thing for me is just making sure that I'm present and I'm there. You know, I grew up without a father, so like automatically just being present is doing more than was ever done for me. You know what I mean? And
Wow.
I look at it like I don't use. See, a lot of people, what they like to do is they try to use that as an excuse, like, oh, I didn't have a father in the home, so it, I didn't, I don't know how to show affection or be affectionate. But I look at it as, because I didn't have a father in the home, now I have to work 2 times as hard to
Wow.
overcome that,
Wow.
because the statistics are already against me, you know, and it's one of those things where I'm not going to let the statistics beat me. You know what
That's
I'm
right.
saying? I'm going to overcome that. And I can't use that as a crutch. You know what I'm saying? She didn't ask to be here.
Mm.
We created her,
Mm.
and I got to be present. I have to. This is just something that I have to do.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's good.
So
That's good.
yeah, man. So I've been excited about the journey, and just really you kind of been an inspiration to be amongst other people, is because I see you out here. I see the pictures on IG. One of your daughters just left 5th grade. I saw that
Yeah.
picture that y'all
Yeah.
posted, and so just seeing the picture of you and her mother with her just kind of gives me inspiration, because it's like, it's dads out here that are doing it.
Man.
You
The beauty.
know,
Yeah.
it's the beauty in it, man.
Man.
So look, let me ask you this. So you gave me a joy. Now, what are some challenges
Man.
that you face, raising your daughter? What are
I
some
got a
things
lot.
that
Let's go down the list.
let's
Let's go down the list, man. I'll go with actual challenges. I think, as their personalities develop, learning to be sensitive to the needs of each child as you see them. One of the things that I feel like I'm learning to do, and this is something that I'm learning to do now, is to love and walk with and to father each child individually.
Mm.
That's an important thing. Sometimes it's like a father and his children. All right, let's come on, kids, let's do this thing, and not recognizing that I need conversations with each daughter. I need moments and memories with each daughter. And so, like one-on-one dates, just me and my girls. I haven't done it as much as I wanted to because we have so many kids. When you do something with one, then they're like, "What y'all went to?" That's not fair. So it gets to be a lot of that, and with time, it's like, okay, well, why don't all of y'all go? And so a lot of my memories with my kids include more than one of them, and so fighting to always have moments in and outside of the home, because I always have conversations, but moments, memorable moments, just one of my girls, not two of them, one of them. And I know it might be kind of weird for some, especially my teenage girls. They're like, this is a date. We don't got to do this. Like, I don't need this. And one of the challenges I've experienced is just that them growing up, and I think I made my girls promise when they were little. I was like, every time I come back home, you always got to run to me and be like, Daddy, like y'all always do. Promise me you do it. And they said, okay, Daddy. But when they turn 13, 14, it's not the same. Like, and then some of them, they still call me Daddy, but they're like, we're going to stop calling you Daddy. It's going to be Dad. I'm like, you better not. You better always call me Daddy. So just them growing up and finding themselves and the relationship being there, but evolving into, they're always my baby, and that's how my perspective. But even respecting the fact that they're not a baby
Mhm.
is it's a great challenge to know that they have their own minds. I had I don't know if I want, yeah. So me and I had a moment with her that I had my daughter cried just
Mm.
recently because of a situation where I was telling her to do something. I've never spanked my daughters. I did spank my boys because they were radical. Like I said, my daughters were easy. So growing
Yeah.
up, they never known me as disciplinarian, mean. My tone enough of disappointment is enough for them, and so
Wait. Say that one more time. Say the tone statement one
my
more time.
tone of disappointment was enough discipline for them. For me to
Wow.
just look at them and just say, I expected more from you.
Oof.
Their eyes will just well up. Like
Oh.
I could say, I didn't appreciate that you did that. That
Oh.
really bothered me that you
Mm.
would still do that even after I talked to you. That's enough for them. They don't necessarily need more than that. Now them boys are, climbing stairwells and dropping glass from the second floor. They might have needed
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
they needed, but my girls weren't radical like that. So they didn't even experience, that disciplinarian side of me. And so I had to just, I had to pull my daughter to the side. She was going back and forth with me, and my tone I realized was really strong with her, and I said, "You need to recognize your place. You're my daughter. I love you, but I'm telling you to do something, and I don't expect any talk back." And she
Mm.
just started like crying and telling me like, "But you didn't have to talk to me like that." And it broke me. My wife was like, "What you broken for? That's what she get," and all that. And I had to talk to her afterwards and say, "Baby, like, I want you to know this is I'm proud of you here. I love you here. This is our relationship, and it's always going to be like this. But every now and then, I need you to recognize that I am your father. Like,
Mm.
just know that I love you, and we have moments where we laugh, when we play. But at the end of the day, I'm going to direct you at times, and it's not a personal attack on you. It's me. This is another side of love. Another side of love is direction. Another side of love is discipline. Another side of love is correction. And that's what that was. And so that really helped her just to have that moment to know, to be willing to follow up on moments like that and not just let those be seeds, because if they're misinterpreted, then those seeds can be poisonous. And so, and I don't want her to misinterpret moments of correction as moments of destruction. So
Wow.
yeah, so that was a moment we had. So just being sensitive to the growth, and allowing for moments where there can be redirection, constructive redirection, so that we can build a good foundation as father and daughter. If you want to say something now, there's more. I got a list, so.
No, that wow. I I am gonna say something there because it's important. What you just said is the fact that you had to discipline her, you had to correct her, but you also showed her, listen, I love you, but at the end of the day, I'm your father. There's gonna be times where I'm gonna have to have a talk with you. It's not gonna be comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
It's not meant to be comfortable,
Mm-hmm.
but it's meant to help you navigate and correct yourself so that way, we can move forward in a positive direction.
Mm-hmm.
That was so key because oftentimes I think people think that discipline just has to be like, oh, you did this, I'm disappointed, yada, 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 and then just leave it at that.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
so key
Yep.
for you. Oh, man, you don't even understand how big that was because the reality is that if we're not showing love to our daughters, even in correction,
Come on.
society's going to do it. And
Ooh.
society is going to paint it in a way that, I'm not going to get mad at you. I'm just going to correct you. However, I'm going to let you still kind of do what you want to do, get away with murder.
Yep.
Oh,
Yep. Yep. That's big, bro. That's
um,
big, and you gotta learn it. You gotta learn each child and how they receive each thing, all of it, man, all of it. Because you never like your intentions, man. Good intentions aren't always enough. You have
yeah.
to have good intentions and follow through by being intentional. Like intentions is motive, right? Like this is what I intended. This is what I desired in my heart to happen. But being intentional, following through to ensure that my intentions were effective. My intentions landed the way that I desire for them to land.
Mhm.
Because she could have interpreted that moment as my dad doesn't like me. Like it's not safe to make a mistake in this household. And I don't want that for my children.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If she feels like she's got to walk on eggshells, it's
Right.
going to affect her up here.
Absolutely.
It's going to affect
Absolutely.
her mentally. Wow.
Yes. That's big, bro. So yeah, I mean, it's hard to even think about these conversations when they're that age. But
Yeah.
just know these are things, just prepare your heart because I couldn't have even imagined seeing that little lip curl up at that age. But but that it gets to a time where, and this leads me to the next point of treading that thin line between loving them well and spoiling them rotten.
Ooh.
And
Let's talk
so
about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk
that's
about
one of the things that I've had to teeter, and potentially one of the reasons why we have to have the conversations that we have is because we've created such a safe space sometimes that I think, you know, we, just like you just talked about how you not having a father causes you to go the opposite direction or work double to ensure that your child does not feel what you felt.
it. Yeah.
But on the other side, there's a level of balance and allowing them to really learn on their own that sometimes, especially as fathers, we don't even necessarily want. Like I don't want my daughter to struggle. Struggle, daughter, never. Like those things I don't want to happen. I don't want things to be hard for them. I don't want things to be hard for my wife. If I see her trying to carry a trash bag, like, oh, sit down. You don't need to carry no trash. I don't want you to do like there was a time almost that I didn't even let my wife drive on long trips because I'm like, if I could thug it out and knock out everything, I like you to have princess treatment. And
For
as a
sure.
father and a Nigerian man, it's just like that is my pride to be able to come through and bless you, to come through and look out for you, to come through and
Yeah.
make sure that things are easier for you. So it's just exaggerated more when you have a little girl in your house. You want to be Superman. But then you can become Superman to the extent that even your actions become their kryptonite. And now they're overly dependent, not just dependent, but entitled to certain things that it causes them to move in a lack of gratitude.
Mm,
And that is something that we got to be watchful of because gratitude is not birthed from giving.
Mm.
Like I thought that my kids would just naturally be grateful the more that I gave. And that's
Mm-hmm.
not true. Because, we got people all around the world. Like, I didn't grow up with everything. And there are people just, in different parts of the world, my parents. And gratitude is something that has to be built in and developed in a person because it should not be dependent on what they have, but it's a mindset. So there are people that have little to nothing, and they sit around and they bless God sincerely for it. They're grateful for everything that they get. But on the opposite end, there are people that get everything that they want, and they look down on the things that they get, and they're just looking for the next thing. They don't care what it takes for you to get it. It's almost like money grows on trees. They'll waste it, they'll throw it away because I know that you'll just continue to give it like that. Spoiled kids are not poor. Oftentimes they're spoiled, and the family could be poor, but they live a life of wealth, exorbitance, and waste because gratitude is not built in them. They don't understand the process and what it takes. And so, the Bible talks about not letting your good be evil spoken of. I just talked about intention and how your intention, if it's not followed through with the right thing, can end up being poisonous. Like I
Mm.
want my daughters to be looked out for. I want them to be provided for. I want things to be easy for them, but at what cost? I don't want my provision and my heart for them to turn into a burden that they're not going to be able to kind of overcome later on in life because life is not like that. And I don't want the type of daughter that comes into a relationship. And we could talk about this in relationship where entitlement is never attractive. As
Yeah.
much as I love to provide for my wife, one thing that would have really turned me off if she just sat back and feet up and now that I got a man, I never have to think of making any effort. Like,
Yeah.
you want to take care of your lady? I'm gonna get in trouble. It's this idea. Like,
Hey, this is a safe space, man. This is a
okay, if
safe
this is the
space.
same space, this is what I advise, and I'll advise my daughter, and I advise any woman dating.
Yeah.
You don't know a man, and you're about to go on a date. Have the money in your pocket, just in case. Be willing to even pull out your wallet.
Boy. Whew.
I believe in this. Why?
Yeah.
Should the man pay for a first date? That's where I come from. I say yes.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But to not have brought your wallet, that speaks volumes. To sit back and what
Yeah.
wallet please, that's ugly. I don't like that. And I don't know how
Mhm.
you feel about that, but entitlement to me is an ugly characteristic.
I'm gonna tell you right now, I despise entitlement. I despise it. I would rather, like you said, I would rather take care of you and see the appreciation in you, see the humbleness in you to be like, you know what? At the end of the day, this is how he's wired, but
There you
let
go.
me show my appreciation because I understand and I can appreciate God for wiring him the way that he's wired him.
There you go.
And but when you have the entitled mindset, you overlook the contributions. You overlook the contributions that I'm bringing to the table. You overlook what I'm doing here.
Oh, I didn't know
And
you was a preacher.
oh man, we could go on for days about this because I'm like, you can go out here and try to get what you want, but I promise you, you're not gonna get what you want. Yeah, yeah. I mean, we could talk for days
Man,
about that. I think
man.
people have
You
really,
said, but you said what you just said. You said with that entitlement, you'll overlook the effort and contribution that it took. This is a sacrifice.
yeah,
I want you to acknowledge that. You need to know that it is. Entitlement eliminates the idea that someone actually intentionally considered you.
mm,
And that's such an ugly feeling to know, man,
I
I'm
just
doing this for you and you don't even care. You don't even see it.
You didn't even bat an eye. You didn't even bat an eye. You didn't even bat an eye, and you. Oh my gosh, man! I think that's one of the things that I'm looking forward to as my daughter grows up. Well, there's a couple of things. Number one is teaching her the value of a dollar. Number
Mm.
two, because I want her to understand that like this stuff doesn't just get handed to you. Oh,
Yep.
you go work.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
go work. It doesn't get handled. It doesn't get handed to you, and I want you to appreciate what you have, but also at the same time understand and recognize that there may be a path for you to be single the rest of your life. We don't see a lot of people don't want to have that conversation. They, everybody's looking for love. Everybody's trying to find love. They think God is going to bless them. In the plan and purpose is maybe that God is like, you know what? You're going to be single for the rest of your life. And
What now? What
what now?
now?
What now? You won't be able to depend on a man for nothing. You won't be able to go to a man for nothing. It's all going to be on you.
Now,
How
now,
do
now,
you?
before you continue, this is so important
Yeah.
because how do you train up a daughter to be independent, yet
Yep.
not push her to this place where
Yes.
it's this, my daddy taught me I don't need a man, to
Right,
the extent that it's like toxic. That
bro.
even when a man comes, it's just like,
Yeah.
then
No,
I
for
don't, I
sure.
can't even appreciate you now because I don't need you. And men,
That is
men want to be needed. So
that's
how do you?
sure.
What's the balance?
That is the challenge of a. I was asking you what are the challenges of raising a daughter. That is a big one. Walking a fine line between independence, but also understanding that if a man comes into your life, you have to allow the man to be a man. That is the challenge, man. That's the challenge. And see, that's why listen, that's why you got three daughters, and I'm gonna be coming to you for advice. Because I
Yeah,
that's a challenge, man. Because
yeah.
I do want her to I don't want her to have an independent mindset, but
Hmm.
also do want her to understand and recognize, you know what? I do have a plan B. I have a backup plan just in
That's right.
case.
That's right. That's right.
But it's
But
not
look at
meant
our wives. Our wives probably exemplify it more. Like my wife is not an entitled woman.
right.
I want her to live the soft life, but my
Yeah.
wife is ready at any time to like. There was times, I mean, in our marriage when we first got together, when my wife was making more and all of this stuff, and she didn't make me feel no ways about it. She didn't try to step on me about it. And
Yeah.
times when I lost money after making a lot of money, she didn't look down on me about it. She never brought it back up. And so those characteristics and femininity and softness paired with this hard, like you said, I'm going to teach her how to work and know the value of a dollar and understand that I'm not entitled to any. This is all like it's a privilege to be able to have someone who's willing to work hard in this
No.
household, that's willing to provide for me, and I'm not going to take that for granted, and I'm going to position myself to be skilled enough and educated enough to do whatever is necessary at any point in time.
Mm.
And that can come with a softness, that can
Mm-hmm.
come with femininity, that can come
Mm-hmm.
with gratitude, that could come with humility. That doesn't have to come with I'm a boss chick and you shut up because I make all of my. You don't have to come with all that.
Right, right. I think it's so important that we just have to align with God, man. Our connection with Him has to be right because, I mean, it's one or two idols that you're gonna serve. It's gonna be God or society. And if you serve society, society is gonna teach you that you don't need a man and you don't
Yes.
need nothing from a man, and you can be single all your life and you can go out here and get it. I mean, honestly, society is teaching you that it's okay for a woman to be masculine.
Yep.
Boy, I'm gonna
Yep.
be the man.
Yep.
I'm a woman, but I'm gonna be the man because I'm gonna show a man that I could be a man better than a man could be a
Dang.
man. No, like for real, for real. That's what society is teaching.
Yeah. Yeah.
Social media is teaching that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so we have to be really careful in who we're aligned with that can
Hmm.
show us how this works. There's only one person that can show us how this thing works. If we lean onto our own understanding, it's
Come on.
over.
There you
It's
go.
chaotic.
There
It's
you
chaos.
go. It's gonna be because at the end of the day, like they said that it's pee in the dating pool now. I mean, it probably may get worse. Who
Yeah.
knows? It may get worse. And the natural response is to go in defense mode and say, well, if I'm not gonna if if it's like this out here, then I'm gonna develop a wall. That's what I just don't want my daughters to develop, like a wall that pushes them to feel like they that there's no room for a man to come in and be a man in their lives. And so I think there's a way, man, especially because they have examples in their home, man. They have examples in the home of what it looks like for a woman to be hardworking, a woman to be grateful. Like it doesn't start. My kids can't be grateful if my wife doesn't have a grateful life. I mean, doesn't have a
Ooh.
grateful attitude. And my kids won't be hardworking if they don't see what it looks like in their parents. So that's why I said train a child in the way that he should go, so when he grows old, they will not depart from it. I think these kids being, I don't want to call them spoiled, but they're learning slowly the value of work. I think at this point they're almost just like, well, Daddy, why can't I get this and this and this and this and this and this and this, and then go with my friends and do this?
Hmm.
I think eventually, as they're seeing the examples, as we're pouring into them, as they learn, as they grow, and then they have their experiences and they have their jobs, they're like, okay, it's all starting to make sense. I get it. I see it. And so, us being patient enough to allow the kinks to be worked out as well, because we don't have it perfect, and just like you said, leaning on God is so important. Sometimes just stepping back and say, God, how do you want us to handle this?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be really important.
Let me ask you this. Why is it important to date your daughter? Why is it
Mm.
important to take her on dates and, when you go to the restaurant, pull out the chair for her, open up the car door, give her flowers. Actually, recently, our daughter just started school.
Hmm.
Well, daycare, but school, and today is like her third day, and so yesterday I went to the store and I got her some flowers, and yeah, and I gave them to her. I'm like, Daddy loves you. He's proud of you for being starting. It's it's your third day in school. He's proud of you. So I just want to give you the flowers to show you that I love you. Some roses.
Wow. Wow.
Um, and I did that because I'm trying to really start her off right.
Yes.
She's 10 months, but I feel like she's never too young for me to show her what this is supposed to look like.
Come on.
This is what it's supposed to look like. And so my question to you is why is it important to do those why is it important to be chivalrous towards your daughter?
Man, you said it best. Setting the bar, and even on a spiritual note, you don't realize how important those your heart towards your daughter is, and heart followed by actions. You don't realize that those actions are not just actions; they're seeds.
Mm,
And after doing all of these interviews, there's something that I learned. I realized that seeds germinate regardless of consciousness and acknowledgement.
hmm.
Meaning, there were people that said, I started developing these feelings of rejection and identity issues. And they said, even before I was able to walk and talk, people were calling me this, saying these names about me, rejecting me. My mom didn't even want to have me. And so all of those things were seeds. They weren't conscious about it. No, they didn't. Sometimes they didn't even hear a lot of the conversations that were held on behalf of them. But they developed this tension and brokenness because of the words that were pronounced and the actions that were taken on behalf of them even before they could process them. And so, in the same way, those negative seeds can distort identity and create brokenness, those positive seeds, those godly seeds, those chivalrous seeds, those love seeds, even before she could articulate what it's doing to her, even if it doesn't seem like she could appreciate what's being done for her, they are setting a foundation spiritually for her that is protecting her, that's insulating her, and giving her a strength that she could not have gotten without it. So don't look down on the fact like, man, I'm doing this. Like, there are parents that read to their child in the womb, and it takes effect. There's child parents that sing songs to their children in the womb. Later on, these children hear those songs again. They said, "There's something about this song that makes me feel away." The parents said, "I used to sing that to you in the womb." So we discount the spiritual weight of our actions just because we don't think there's consciousness. If I put a seed in the ground and I walk away and I do my thing, somehow it's going to be watered. Somehow it's going to take root. Even if whether I'm there or not, it can take root. So in the same way, be careful of the seeds that are planted, or be intentional about the seeds that you're planting at their young age. Whether they can appreciate it, whether you think that they get it or not, continue to do it, because it sets the bar. It prepares them. It insulates them. It heals them before they're broken.
Wow. There's so much influence that you have on a child, man. And even if you, like you said, even if you think that they don't understand or don't appreciate it, trust and believe.
Yes.
They're watching.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, they're watching how you move.
Yes.
They are watching how you do.
Yes.
Man.
Yes.
Wow.
Yep.
That's a nugget, man. That's a nugget. I'm gonna get you on up out of here on this question, man. I always ask this as a final question to my guests who come on. Let's say you're talking to 23, 24-year-old Ezekiel, man, and you have a daughter and you're really trying to foster the relationship with her. And he comes to you and is like, hey, what's a couple tips you may have or some advice you may have on really fostering a relationship with my daughter? Because I'm shooting at this thing blind. I don't know if I don't know if I'm going in the right direction. There's some things that I think I'm doing right. There's some things that I may not be doing right. But overall, I don't know how I'm doing. I don't know if this is. I don't know if I'm really feeling this. Some people get in their mind that, you know what, I'm only gonna do this one time because I'm just not feeling this.
Mm-hmm.
How do I really foster the relationship to not only bring me joy, but also bring God joy because of what I'm doing through Him to foster that relationship? What type of advice would you give them?
Well, I could even say right now, one, the beautiful thing about planting seeds is we really underestimate the fact that, yes, it seems like effort it takes to plant a seed, but it's going to bear fruit, and that fruit is going to feed others, but you don't realize how much that fruit feeds you. Like that, seeing my children grow up in the fear of the Lord and develop their identities in God, they become my encouragement.
Come on.
Them walking in the fullness of what God. There are times that my kids pray for me. There are times that my kids pray for each other. I am a benefactor of those seeds. So don't be weary in well doing. But one thing I would tell the younger me is I would say, man, your babies need your presence more than they need those presents. And that's something I had to learn, in the middle of this whole process. I used to think that my grinding would establish my value in their lives, and me giving them everything that they could ever want, or the buying them the shoes and taking them on the trips and all those things. I thought that would be the anchoring of the beauty of the relationship that I could build with them. Until there was a time that it was in 2019. I worked so much, man. I was touring, I was creating events, I was doing all types of stuff, and the money was flowing heavy. And that year, I told my daughters, I was like, I'm planning one more tour. And they said, no, not another tour. I was like, well, when Daddy have a tour, like, we get lit. Like, we get to go to Disneyland. We get to do all of things. I was like, please, no more tours. And I'm like, what's going on? And I asked them to recount their favorite memories because I was like, we done did a lot because the money done flow this year. And
Yeah.
they brought up the few years before that, when I didn't have much money, and I was playing the Dollar Tree water guns, and we had water balloons, and we had a water hose in the backyard, and it was just a whole time in poverty. But I was there. Were just playing, and I was just there, and it was like, that was my favorite time with you, Daddy. I wish we could do it again. I'm like,
Wow.
yeah.
What?
I'm
Wait,
like, I done gave y'all a life that we done did the hotels, we done did. What? That's what you want? Yeah, and Daddy was eating the noodles. Oh, I love those noodles. I'm like, we had to eat the
the
noodles.
Robin Hood.
That was so fun, Daddy. And then, you used to tell the stories. I'm like, wow, like.
That's
And
the memories.
my second daughter was like, I told my first daughter said, Daddy, I love that you have a job, but I wish it wasn't this one.
Mm.
My second daughter said, I told her, I told all of them, I said, well, if Daddy doesn't work, you know that y'all can't eat. And she said, well, we don't have to eat all the time. And that's when I knew I had to change. I was like, if it means that I have to step away from what I think is making me successful, or I don't care about none of that anymore. I need to be here with my baby. So I was like, I would never do those long tours anymore. If I do something, it's going to be sporadic, but I want to be here. And God has honored that. And being more present with my daughters is just I cannot exchange that for the world. And so if I were to tell my younger self something, it would be, man, they need your presence more than they need those presents, for sure. Yeah.
I don't even know what to say to that, dog. Wow. Wow. The Disneyland is cool, but I like it when we were just here as a family and we didn't have nothing, but we had each other.
Come on.
Oh man, dude, that's it. That's a mic drop. That's wow.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
Man. Mm. This was good, man. I don't got nothing else for that. That's it. I mean, that's wow.
Yeah.
Just
And are
being
you even willing to be the father that's willing to sacrifice to be what your children need more than what you think they want? Yeah, because you think that you're doing it for them, but you're doing it at the expense of them.
you're doing it at the expense of them, and really, it almost is a selfish versus a selfless thing, right? Because you out here, I mean, let's be real. Like, yes, you're providing for them, but you're also providing for you. You like the lavish lifestyle. You like the money. And so what you do is to deflect from you put it on them and be
Oh
like,
my
well, no, daddy's providing for you, but really you're providing for you. You're thinking about providing for you.
I knew you
And
was a
they're,
preacher.
bro, and they're just the
Collateral.
yeah,
Collateral
they're the
damage.
collateral,
Yeah.
but it's really for you.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Oh my
man.
God.
I think if I'm gonna take away one thing from that, it's what we just talked about. Because my mindset and my thought process has always been because I didn't have or get these things, I'm gonna give them to her. I'm gonna provide them to her. And not knowing that, well, dang, man, really, you just need to be present.
Wow. I promise you, bro. I guarantee you that will by far be the best thing that you can do for your daughter. And this is something that, as a person that 10 years ago, you could not have convinced me that.
Yeah.
Like, you would think that they just them having everything. No, bro. They need you, your presence, your time, your love. That means it's going to mean more to them than anything you give. You're going to hear like the groanings of, I wish we could have this. I wish we could have this. But in the end, bro, when they look back on their lives, they'll say, my daddy, and they'll say, daddy, my daddy loved me. He was there for me. He looked out for me. He covered me. And those kids that all they got was gifts and presents, you reap what you sow later on. They might be able to whip up some money to put you in a home, but if you sow time and presence, you'll reap time and presence. They'll be like, well, that's all I know is to be close to my daddy, because that's what he sowed into my life, closeness.
Wow. Yo, this was good, man. I really appreciate you coming through, man, and doing this with me. I think a lot of people are going to benefit from this, especially myself. I'm taking mental notes. Some stuff was really dropped today. And so I just appreciate you for stopping by and like I said, giving your perspective and your story on this situation, man. For real, for real.
Man, this was an honor, bro. I mean, I can't wait to continue to see you guys thrive, man. You guys are an amazing family, man, and I love your heart for your children. I'm already speaking that,
I'm
and
about
for
to
your
say,
wife.
wait, hold up, you advancing us, man. You advancing us now.
Listen, I got to.
Yeah, for sure, man. So yeah, make sure you following us on IG where we post reels from the episodes. And if you can't follow us, you can listen to us wherever you get your podcasts at Flip That Switch. So just make sure one way or the other you're tapping in with us. And if you have a story and you want to get it out, I'd love to sit down and have a conversation with you. So make sure that you drop something in the comments to me if you're looking to come on the show and do an episode with me. Like I said, we'd love to hear your story. But my bro, thanks so much for coming on, man. I
Yes, sir.
appreciate you, and we got to connect soon, man. We some way
Yeah,
somehow we gotta. I know you're a busy man. You on the road. You know
yeah.
you going to people's churches and doing your thing. And
I'll be in Dallas a lot. Hey, you know we're having a men's conference in Dallas in October. I want you there.
yes, that's the 3rd through the 5th, right?
Yep, at your church. So.
Yeah. No, for sure. That's my birthday's October 2nd, so that's gonna be a nice little birthday gift for me, man.
Well, I recommend you be there with us, man. It'll be an amazing time.
No, for sure. For sure. All right. Well, we'll connect soon, man. And thank y'all so much for tuning into this episode. We appreciate y'all. We're going to see y'all for the next one. We out. Peace.